There's only been 7 Major League Baseball games ever on Halloween, and now that the Blue Jays have tied up the series, we are guaranteed another in 2025. Because spooky baseball is so rare, I've decided to revisit every game with the help of Baseball Reference and award MVPs to players from each game. Let's jump in.
Mitch Moreland. If I were to dress up for Halloween, I'd be a Ninja Turtle.
Beginning with the series that started it all, the 2001 World Series. Yankees fans will remember this game as the Mr. November game. Us Diamondbacks fans will remember this as the first Byung-Hyun Kim game. The Diamondbacks were up 2-1 going into the first professional baseball game ever on Halloween. Both Curt Schilling and El Duque, Orlando Hernandez, had good starts, leaving the game tied at 1 after 7. Shane Spencer hit the first Halloween home run if you're interested in that kind of thing. The D-backs would jump ahead in the 8th due to an Arubio Durazo double and a Matt Williams fielder's choice. Then, Byung-Hyun Kim came in. Context for non-Diamondbacks fans. And for people who weren't there, like me. Kim was a dominant high-leverage arm in the regular season, tossing 98 innings and holding an ERA under 3 in the middle of the steroid era. He would somewhat regularly go 2 innings if needed, occasionally even 3, but his pitch count after July never exceeded 35. So, it took 18 pitches to strike out all 3 batters in the 8th inning. All seemed pretty good. By the time he gave up a game-tying home run to Tino Martinez with 2 outs in the 9th, he was at 30 pitches. By the time he finally got the 3rd out of the 9th inning, he was at 45 pitches. He hadn't thrown that many since June. Given all this information, you might think that they would take him out for the 10th inning because he's clearly past his physical limit at this point. This is not what the D-backs did. As the clock struck 12 and we moved into November, Derek Jeter hit a walk-off dinger to win the game and earn the title Mr. November. Jeter is the obvious pick for MVP, being Mr. November and all, but Tino Martinez deserves it. Without Tino's 2-run home run on the first pitch with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th, Jeter's moment wouldn't have been possible. MVP Tino Martinez. I promise that some of them are this exciting. 2009 marks the first Halloween game that I can remember. It makes sense that I still had time to watch it after trick-or-treating because there was an 80-minute rain delay to start off the night. The Yankees and the Phils were tied 1-1 going into Game 3. And they've got Pettit and Hamels on the mound respectively. Pettit did not have his stuff early. The Phils jump ahead early off a Jason Worth home run, a bases-loaded walk, and a sac fly. I'm gonna let you in on a secret. Pettit turns it around. After a quick A-Rod 2-run shot in the 4th, Andy Pettit stepped into the batter's box and ripped an RBI single to tie it. Pettit then puts on his Letterman jacket, advances to second on a Jeter single, and proceeds to score from second on a Johnny Damon double. A second Jason Worth homer would make it 6-4 in the 6th, but the Yankees would pull away and win 8-5. Mariano Rivera converted the first ever All Hallows Eve save in MLB history. MVP, Andy Pettit, just for the jacket, and pitcher hits. I love pitcher hits. I can't get enough of them. We did not have to wait long for more Halloween baseball. Game 4 between the Giants and the Rangers took place on Halloween the next year, 2010. This game starts and ends with some 20-year-old phenom named Madison Bumgarner. He was dominant. He tossed 8 shutout innings, allowing 3 hits and 2 walks, then he handed it off to Brian Wilson, the original Beard, for the win. This was a coming-out party for Bumgarner, who went on to have one of the greatest World Series pitching careers ever, but only on even-numbered years. If he were ever to pitch in the postseason on an odd-numbered year, the spell would break and he would revert into Arizona Madison Bumgarner. Anyway, the Texas Rangers only managed those 3 hits and never got a runner past second. It was not good. Aubrey Huff for the Giants cranked a 2-run homer in the 3rd to put the Giants up for good. MVP, Madison Bumgarner. It would be a few more years until the next baseball spooktacular, until in 2015 when the Mets hosted the Royals for Game 4 of the Fall Classic. It was Steven Matz versus Chris Young with a 3-1 Mets deficit looming with the Royals win. Mets rookie Michael Conforto got things started with a homer in the 3rd, then he did it again in the 6th to put the Mets up 3-1. In the top of the 6th, we see one of the funniest things I think I've ever seen in a World Series game. Bartolo Colon in high leverage relief. He's brought in with 2 outs in the 6th and Lorenzo Cain on second. Big Sexy tries to pick off and proceeds to throw the ball into the outfield, but then he hunkers down, punches out future World Series MVP Salvador Perez, and he's done. They pulled him after that. I miss this guy. The Mets were up 3-2 going into the 8th inning when a couple walks put Ben Zobrist on second, and then they could have gotten out of it had this ball not gone under Daniel Murphy's glove, which allowed Zobrist to tie it. The Royals would then break it open and win by a score of 5-3. The MVP today, as it was in the series, was Salvador Perez. 3 for 4 with a double, a ribby, and a run, with a Curtis Granderson caught stealing to boot. 2017. It was a simpler time. We were still in ignorance as to what was taking place within the walls of Minute Maid Park. Today we head to Dodger Stadium, though, to Game 6 between Los Angeles and Houston. With elimination looming, the Dodgers have opted for a 37-year-old Dick Mountain, with Verlander taking the bump for the Stros. George Springer, big surprise, hits a homer in the third run to start the fireworks, and then the bats went cold on both sides for a few innings. Chris Taylor added to his playoff resume with a game-tying double in the sixth, which led to a Corey Seager sac fly to take the lead. The final nail in the coffin would be Jock Peterson's Oppo Taco off Joe Musgrove, who was pitching in relief. MVP goes to CT3. It could have been a couple guys, but his timely hitting led to the tie and eventual lead. For whatever reason, the baseball gods decided that the Houston Astros needed some more Halloween baseball glory and account for their loss, and by God, glory the Houston Astros got. The year is 2021, and the Braves, up 3-1 in the series, are hosting the Astros. The Braves have opted for a bullpen game, while the Astros have Framber Valdez on the bump. I'll try not to bury the lead here. This is the game where the Braves hit a grand slam in the first inning and then ended up losing by 4. Down 4-0 in the first, they were tied by the third inning and the Astros never looked back. Right when Minter blows it, there's a very prominent Marvel Eternals ad, which I find really funny for some reason. I'm a decently big Marvel consumer and I still haven't even seen the film. Let me know if I should, but it's funny that it's being shown right when he blows this game wide open. After they took the lead right here, they never looked back. 9-5 win for Houston. My MVP, Zach Greinke. He was used as a pinch hitter in the fourth inning, and he ripped a single into right field. He was 2 for 3 that postseason. It remains the last hit for a pitcher in the postseason and will probably remain that way for the foreseeable future. This brings us to our 7th and final baseball game on Halloween, my least favorite of the entire list, 2023. This is Game 4 between the Texas Rangers and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Both of these teams were 0-1 on Halloween entering the game. There were bragging rights on the table. Full disclosure, I live in Phoenix and am a Diamondbacks fan. This is the game that made me feel secure that I didn't spend $300 to go to the World Series. I went to the others though. But yeah, this was a rough one. It was a bullpen game for Arizona, and it was a spanking from the get-go. So the Rangers went up 5 in the second inning behind a Marcus Semien triple and a Corey Seager dinger, and then they said, hey, that was fun, guys. Let's do it again. So they went up 10-0 in the third. From here on out, it was a blowout. It ended up being 11-7, but their win probability never dropped below 98 past the third inning. There was no shot. I wasn't in the building, but I assume the air got sucked out of it. Frickin' Miguel Castro. The MVP here could be really anybody in the Rangers offense, but I'm going to go with Marcus Semien. He had a homer, a triple, and 5 RBI all before the third inning. Just a demolition of baseballs. Additional trivia, I believe Vladimir Guerrero and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. are about to become the first father-son combo to both play a game on Halloween, because Vlad Jr. played back in 2010 with the Rangers. Vlad's here to this year. Now that we have all of our MVPs, we're going to make a tier list. No, I'm kidding. This is the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.